And I wanted to begin tonight by, I think, setting the tone for why we chose the subject that we chose, because you may have wondered yourself, we're all Muslims or Christians or whatever, and so why talk about this subject? And in fact, it is a very important topic. Let me give you an example. Until recent years, atheism was only between 3 and 5% of the human population ever since they've been keeping record of this kind of information. But just now, in this last decade, we've seen it increase by more than double. And if you say, well, that's no big deal, that's an important thing, because if you consider if it doubled again and doubled again and doubled again, you can figure that just in a few years, you're talking about half the world's population losing all their belief. And then what would happen in another couple decades, and of course, we don't want to think of that. So before we go any further, let's do a census of our own. Let's find out some statistics. I got, those new teeth and they stick. We'll do our own numbers and find out. I'm going to ask you, are there any Muslims here? Raise your hand. Oh, let's go the other way. Is anybody here that's not Muslim? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How you like being surrounded by all these terrorists? I meant to say Muslim. I did. By the way, did they introduce me? I didn't hear it. I was still out in the parking lot. My name's Yusuf. Can you say Yusuf? You got it perfect the first time. I'm married all these years. My wife still pronounces it useless. What was funny? Maybe it's a speech impediment. Is it important to believe in God? Is anybody here that is an atheist? One. Well, your statistics aren't working here tonight anyway. By the way, you're welcome. All of our guests are most welcome. Anything I say or do does not represent the Malaysian community. This is, if you don't like anything tonight, remember I'm from Texas. And that problem's going to end on January 20th, right? Yep. They always ask me about electing Obama. Well, these things really stick. Whoops. But anyway, I want you to think about something with me here just a minute and see how this works. When a person begins to contemplate and try to consider how everything comes about, what will be the biggest influence on them? Have you thought about this? What will influence you most when you're trying to make a conclusion, when you're trying to decide how did this come about? For instance, where did everything come from? Why am I here? Do I have a purpose? Is everything just a big accident? How does that work? Now, if you're saying to yourself, I better not let anybody know I had those thoughts, I don't want anybody to know that I was faithless at one time or something like that, don't worry about it. Because actually every single human being is supposed to do that. That is what you were designed to do. You're supposed to think. That's why you have a brain. You're not a machine, you're not an animal, you are a human. about that, the creator of the universe says, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Allah said in the Quran that He created the human being in the best mold. So already we know we started out okay. And even the Prophet ﷺ said that every single child is born in the fitra, the state of being in aslama. And aslama is the verb that noun becomes Islam. And from this we understand that the child is already born in the state of surrender, submission, obedience, sincerity, and peace. This is the nature of what Islam means, and that is the nature of a child. So this is how a child is born. And then the Prophet, peace be upon him, he continued by saying that then the parents will raise them up to become whatever religion it might be, Jew, Christian, fire worship, whatever they are, is going to be according to that. So what we've learned from our Prophet is that the influence of the environment as the child grows up is definitely going to have a big impact. Now, if you're a Christian, you know that we have the expression that says, so as the twig is bent, so grows the tree, and it means the same thing, that the influence as you grow up definitely will have an impact. Now, if you're an atheist, you still know it's true because the psychologists, psychiatrists will tell us the same thing, the influence of the society. In fact, that's one of the defenses that they use in court whenever somebody's done these horrific bad things, whatever they did, and now the attorney for them is going to say, oh, but he's a product of his environment. The poor little boy, you know, he's had such a hard life. You know, his parents were gone all the time making millions of dollars, and he had bad babysitters, and, you know, and sometimes his Xbox didn't work, and, you know, poor baby.